You enjoying the gummy bears, Gustav? Yeah, it was funny. I walked Ali Brownlee out of the freezing yesterday.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PTO 2020 Championship. Just as a quick request before we get things started, if everyone could make sure that their cell phones are on silence, and we will get our press conference for this unbelievable epic event off and rolling. We have some of the best athletes in the world here competing, and to truly do this press conference justice, we probably would have had to interview 100 athletes and have you guys here for the entire day. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time, so we've shortened it down today, but we have some amazing folks to speak with here today, and as you'll see, this is going to be an amazing race. So I'm going to be asking the questions here today. My name's Kevin Mckinnon. I am one of the race announcers, and I'll be part of the coverage for Sunday's event that is going to be groundbreaking. Going to be covered around the world or seen around the world. Over 100 countries will be able to see the event on television, and of course it'll be live streamed around the world as well. So we're looking forward to a fantastic day of racing in a couple of days, and we're going to start with our men's press conference, and then we'll bring the women in after that. But before we get things rolling, first things I'm going to bring up on the stage a gentleman who probably shouldn't need a whole lot of intro, but is the man behind all of this, and he'll try and tell you that he has nothing to do with it. It's all the people who are around him who help it, but I always say it starts from the top, and he's the person who has created this amazing event. So we're going to start here today with Bill Christie, the CEO of Challenge North America.
Thanks, Kevin, as always. So happy to have you here. Appreciate it.
So happy that we can be here. I always joke, you truly walk the talk. You have a car that doesn't have one of its back seats so that you can get your bike into it easier.
That's true.
What is it about this sport that has just attracted you, and what makes Challenge Daytona and Challenge North America so important to you?
So the first part of that is, why am I attracted? We started as a family, which really is going to resonate here, but we started as a family trying to stay connected to our children. And so our eldest, who was a race car driver, Ben Kennedy, said, hey, we should do a triathlon. Let's do a relay. And then it began. And once it began, it didn't stop. I think the thing that attracted me the most is the people. I look around this room, and I know so many of you. And it is truly the people that make this sport. We have that feeling in NASCAR, but to see it in another place is just amazing. And we're so excited that you guys are here. Thank you all for being here. But this is about family, and that's what drove me to do and become more and more and more enthusiastic about triathlon.
So what does it mean to have this field here for you? Like, do you feel like what's happening on Sunday is going to change the sport as we know it?
If we did it right, we're going to change the sport. Simply put, we don't think triathlon is viewed the way it should be around the world. By that I mean simply, the average runner, biker, swimmer, golfer, tennis player has zero appreciation for the level of athleticism that goes into triathlon. If we do it right, they will tune in to NBC on January 2nd or NBCSN in the coming weeks, and they'll be entertained by the NBC crew up in the booth that do NASCAR races in the Olympics to teach, have fun, poke fun, and share triathlon with the world. If we do that, we can take this to the next level. If we do that, we put people in endurance sports, healthy lifestyles, and as much as anything else, family and family engagement.
Finally, I wanted to ask you this. You talk a lot about what triathlon can learn from NASCAR. You know, you guys well, you live triathlon, but I'd say maybe your family lives NASCAR a tiny bit more. What do you mean by that when you say like we have so much that we can learn from NASCAR?
Interestingly enough, I'll say that Mike Helton, who, as you know, has been run competition for NASCAR for years, was at the pro briefing yesterday. So I want to come back to that because Mike said, boy, there's so much we can learn from triathlon. So let's come back to that. The first part is family. And when we talk about family, we talk about the France family and its roots going back to 48 and then 59 when they built the track, built France Senior, and the engagement they have with drivers, teams, front to back. What do I think we can learn? Chip Weil said it best. Chip is the regional president, I think I actually got it right that time, for most of the largest tracks in the country. And Chip said to the pros in 2018, let us teach you how to be NASCAR drivers. Let us teach you how to engage your fans. Let us work with you to bring the sport forward. That's why we cut the pro race out of the regular distance race, so that the fans, so the age groupers could see those people that they had heard so much about. And if that was the case, then you gain real fan engagement. We push things like the autograph cards. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you can meet triathletes that you've heard their names, but you've never been close to them, you've never engaged with them, you've never talked to them, they're amazing people. So the little things like the pro cards and the autograph sessions, the pro-ams, again, engaging the professionals with the age groupers to create a relationship and a friendship. NASCAR does such a fantastic purpose with regard to their focus on driver introductions. When the drivers come out, they've got their kids in their arm, they've got their wife in their hand. It's a family event. Here and now, we'll show the world this too is a family event. So those things we learn from NASCAR. So let's talk about the other side and the conversation that was being had between Mike Helton and Jared Schumacher, where Mike said, you know, we spend a lot of time in a wind tunnel, but I think there's so much we can learn about aero from the pro triathletes. I thought that was pretty special. And then the next part was, Mike said, I don't know that you know, but many of our drivers train as triathletes. Many of them come through the same training program and they're taught swim, bike, run. So take those two components, add the family value to it. I think it goes both ways. Where once I thought it was what can we bring to the table, now it's both ways. The last part of that is simple. NASCAR Productions, NBC in partnership, is putting this sport on TV. We're going to make it entertainment, we're going to make it fun, and if we do it right, the world will see how great a sport this is.
All right, hey, thank you so much, and no doubt there why we're here. Love your enthusiasm and all that you have done. Thanks so much.
Thank you all, appreciate it. Thank you.
There's Bill Christie, the CEO of Challenge North America. Now we're going to bring up first of our 4 male athletes that we'll be talking to today. He is the reigning Ironman 70.3 world champion, gearing up for the Olympics in Tokyo if those end up happening next year, and certainly one of the men that we'll be watching this weekend, Gustav Iden from Norway.
Hello, great to be here. Thank you for the nice introduction.
Oh, thank you, Gustav. Sorry, and if we'll just get you to look into the camera, that is fantastic. So, Gustav, even before the race last year, you kept saying that the Olympics were your ultimate goal. You keep racing longer distances, though. Do you feel like competing over this kind of distance actually helps your training and everything for the Olympics?
Yeah, I feel like this is a great way to both motivate me and learn more for racing. So, of course, this year has been really difficult in terms of getting enough race experience and everything. So it's so amazing to be able to come here to actually get something to race. And of course, it's so much easier to train hard and do well in training when you have something to aim for.
So I talked about your big win in Nice last year. The week before that, your teammate had won the grand final in Lausanne. It was quite a week for you guys, quite a month. What is it about training and your group that has been so special and allowed you guys to excel the way you have?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's special with the group, but yeah, we have an amazing performance culture, and we set our targets really, really high. And when we are so many strong athletes together, that pushes harder, training every day and racing hard and do everything right, of course the results will come. So what's really special is that we have been training together for so many years now, and before our group it was basically no triathlon in Norway at all. So it started with us, and luckily we managed to build something great out of nothing.
Who do you feel like this race favors? Everyone keeps saying, oh, you know, the ITU athletes are going to rip this thing apart, and other people are kind of going, yeah, no, not going to happen, the long distance guys. What is your take on that?
I mean, I'm mostly a short distance athlete, so I have to root for my short distance guys. So I think myself and Vincent and Ali are going to be like the top guys. I hope mostly, of course, for myself personally. So I will share for the short distance guys, but I mean, it's so many talents here. It's a really deep field, so yeah, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, deep field, I think that's the understatement of the year. It's just crazy. What I've always wanted to ask you this question, I didn't have a chance in Nice. Out on the run course, you're running along, you start running with Alistair Brownlee, and then you start pulling away from him. What was that feeling like? What was kind of going through your head at that point as you're pulling away from a guy people call the greatest triathlete ever?
Yeah, actually I wasn't running with him in the start. He had a gap on me, and then I was pretty unsure of how I could be able to beat him, and I kind of settled for a second for a bit there, and then my brother was on the sideline and saying, Alistair has cracked before in the run, so maybe he'll do it again, so you just have to focus on yourself. So what was on my mind? It was purely racing my own race on the run, and just watching my pace and have it evenly. And when I finally caught up with him, I knew my chances of winning has greatly improved, and I tried to stay on his feet, but it was kind of like an awkward pace, so I just went straight past and never looked back.
That's you're still smiling over that one, I guess.
Yeah, it's over a year ago, but it still brings great memories to me when I think back on it.
And so finally for you, what do you need to do on Sunday to duplicate that feeling and that performance?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to win, but hopefully I will manage. So it's not going to be a race like Nice for sure. It's more pure power and pure aerodynamics, and I guess tactics doesn't really play into this event as much as last year. So I don't think you can outsmart anyone here. You just have to be really, really, really strong. So we'll see if I'm strong enough on race day or if I'm a one-hit wonder. Hopefully not.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this room is going to call you a one-hit wonder. So thank you so much, Gustav Iden, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, he's from France. He's the two-time defending World Triathlon Champion. Took the world title in Hamburg earlier this year over what ended up being a sprint distance, 7th at the Olympics in Rio in 2016. Vincent Luis. It's kind of strange without audience clapping and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Vincent, thank you so much for joining us here today. I don't know, you're probably going to hate me for this question, but what on earth are you doing here? Did you misread the distances or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I just got an email saying that I could come, so I thought it was a good way to make some money before Christmas and then to the US. No, more seriously, you know, when you get to race in 2020, you just take the slot and you try to train your best to be competitive on these distances. I always wanted to race a longer distance, and it's a longer distance, but it's a pancake flat race, so it's gonna be let's say 3 hours 15 maybe, so not that long. And yeah, I'm just keen to race whatever. 2020 has been weird. Only raced 4 times this year, so another slot for racing is always good to take.
What do you think is, I believe this is your first long distance race, first time going this distance. What do you think is going to be the hardest thing for you to sort of work on in terms of pacing on Sunday?
Yeah, that's true. I never raced above 2 hours, so that's my first time above this distance. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's a big question mark even for me. I tried my best during training, staying in the aero positions, also my nutrition plan and all this stuff. You know, it's a lot of things to think about. For me, it's a completely different sport. You ride another bike, you race in another suit, and all these things. I did not even know since yesterday that I needed a race belt, and so I had to buy one yesterday. So all these stuffs are completely different, you know. But yeah, it's kind of exciting, and I just can't wait to race. It's gonna be a fun race. The field's crazy. It's a good chance to race these guys. I've never seen Lionel in real life, so that was nice to meet him for the first time. And yeah, all these things are just like, it's not a new challenge. It's just a good first try over the longer distance. And but we'll see if I can race more after the Olympics. For now, my main focus is on this kind of racing. But yeah, for sure, I'm really grateful that I'm able to race on Sunday over a longer distance.
So a few weeks ago at the World Cup event in Valencia, you outsprinted Alistair Brownlee to take that win. Does that give you confidence, or is it a little scary knowing how fit Alistair is when you come into this?
We've been racing together with Alistair since 15 years or something, I guess. So I know him, he knows me. I think he beat me a lot more than what I've beat him. So the odds are still on his favor. And yeah, he's a strong guy. He raced an Ironman a year ago in like 7 hours 45, something like this. So for sure he's strong over the longer distance. He's a strong biker. He really helped us in the breakaway in Valencia and made us having a big gap before the run. I'm confident on my running abilities over the short distance after a draft legal race, but who knows what I can provide after a non-draft bike. For sure it would be interesting if we can have a bit of the run together. That means I'm having a good race, and yeah, that will boost my confidence if we come together for the last 500 meters on the run, but nothing else.
Finally, you've talked about wanting to stay competing at the Olympic distance through the Olympics in 2024. They're going to be in France. Are you worried at all that you might have too much fun on Sunday and want to start doing longer stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I had a lot of fun actually riding the TT bike. These things are really fast, and it's really enjoyable to like pick all your details on your bike and your suit and everything to get the most efficient possible. But I do like short distance. It's just this lot of adrenaline you get for like 45 minutes to 2 hours. It's just you know, I'm just a kind of adrenaline junkie, and I just like this, and you know, everything can happen, a crash or whatever, and so that's the good thing in short distance. But yeah, for sure Sunday I'll have fun. That's what I'm racing for now. It's only having fun, you know. I got good results already, so I'm just training for that, for being a bit happier than yesterday, and for sure Sunday I'll enjoy every bit of the race.
That's awesome. I have a feeling I can guarantee it's not going to be fun in terms of some of the pain you'll be going through, but you work on that anyway. Thanks so much, Vincent Luis.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye. So next up, we have the 2014 Ironman World Champion. He's a 2-time 70.3 World Champion, and you know, everyone always talks about him being one of our favorite people in the sport. He's always a great person to chat and talk to. Sebastian Kienle from Germany.
Thanks, Kevin. I think that's the reason why I get still invited to press conferences. Probably not because being the main favorite anymore, but being the most favorite.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not buying the one of the favorites thing. You're on a lot of people's lists. So, 2.5 months ago, I think it was, you had a bike crash and broke your collarbone. it seems to me it could have been easy to just say, this year is just not going to happen. 2020 is just crazy.
I should have said that in March, probably, yeah. That would have been a good idea and just take a year off. But no, I mean, I'm honestly super happy, and I think everybody from an athlete side, from behalf of the athletes, I think I can pretty much speak for all of them. We are so grateful to have this opportunity under these circumstances to race here, and I think everybody knows what kind of responsibility comes with that. And I think so far what I've seen, everybody's like really responsible, and yeah, we are just very grateful for this opportunity. Thanks for everybody who's making this happen.
Thank you. As usual, great spokesperson for all of us here. You've talked a little bit about, ITU versus long distance athletes, and who do you think this race favors?
Like you said, I'm around for a pretty long time, and I think 2012, it's the same talk every time. 2012 before Las Vegas, it's the first time when really there was actually long course athletes and short course athletes meeting each other at a world championship, and every year I kept hearing the same story. The short course guys will absolutely smoke you, but what happened was actually nothing until last year, and I think obviously that's also because short course racing changed a lot over the times. I can still remember Lance saying it's a swim, a blow, hair dry, and a foot race, but well, it's not the case anymore. These guys are like really strong on the bike as well, and that's what they showed last year. So yeah, unfortunately I was hoping that somebody brings a knife to this gunfight. Not really the case, especially for Vincent, and I mean Alistair, I would consider him one of us, one of the long course guys. So the only way to make this interesting is to not make it a gunfight but a nuclear war.
I'm guessing that part of that nuclear war is, for you it's always a big deal. The bike, you're on a new bike, it looks great. Have you tweaked your position as well as just having the new bike, or is it pretty much the same?
No, it's completely different. We actually changed it quite a bit, and it was also, it was difficult to get used to it so quick because, I'm on the new bike for now just 6-7 weeks, and of course with the old bike I had 2-3 world championship titles, and it's very difficult to get used to something new, but now I'm really happy. It's the bike suits the track really well, feels at home.
I've always said you seem to thrive on competitive fields and competition and stuff, and you talked about Alistair being in great shape and all of that stuff. Does seeing him sort of get so fit and be good really motivate you and drive you to train even harder and prepare more?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this race was in your mind for quite a long time, and that was basically the only reason why I still kept training hard, because I know otherwise it would be you definitely would have get smoked here. So now I hope I can slot in somehow.
And finally, we've seen you and Lionel have some crazy battles and stuff over the years in terms of races, and that race in Stammer a few years ago where you guys were together on the bike and so much of the run. Do you sort of come into a race like this and plan with something like that in mind, or is that a way you prepare?
Well, like you said, deep field is the understatement of 2020. I mean, if you want to plan like with all the factors in the race, in the men's field, there are probably, I would say, like 30 guys that have a realistic chance to make the top 5, and so therefore to plan with like other people in the race is very difficult. I know all the guys from watching the WTS races and stuff like that, so therefore obviously I know who are the strong guys on the run and who are the strong guys on the bike and so on. So therefore, you can't really plan anything than your own race in a race like that.
And finally, I'll throw you on the spot here. Who's going to win on Sunday?
I think Alistair is going to win the race. He brings like the short course speed and the endurance from long course. He knows how to be in aero position with 380, 385 watts for 1 hour 40, and I think he probably doesn't have the top end speed Vincent has. So but therefore I think he has the endurance to go really fast on a run for 18k. So yeah, that's my prediction. I'll try to find a way to bet on him, I guess, to make some money on Sunday.
Any opportunity for a guy from Germany to take the title?
With a lot of flats, probably, or a NASCAR-like crash in the front group. Yeah, I mean, our 2 world champs have decided after seeing the start list that it doesn't really make sense to come here. So unfortunate, but yeah, I'll give my very best. But to be honest, I think it's gonna be a tough ask to beat one of those guys.
All right. Hey, thank you so much, Sebastian Kienle. Great job as always, and thank you so much for your honesty.
Thanks, Kevin.
And most of the time he tells it like it is. I heard that story once before, just before a world championship that he took. So I don't know that we want to buy all of that. Thanks again, Sebastian. All right. So finally, for on the men's side here today, we have a gentleman. He is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He, as a few people have noted, in Western Australia, almost exactly a year ago, he went 7:45, broke the course record there. I can still remember, it was only about a decade ago, people were saying no one would ever go under 8 hours in Western Australia. So I think he did this by just a tiny bit. Anyway, let's bring him on up here. He's from Great Britain, Alistair Brownlee. Thanks so much for coming, Alistair. So Sebi says you're going to win. Do we even have to do this race on Sunday?
Yeah, well, I think, I guess I'm no stranger to being a favourite or a bit of pressure. So yeah, it's a good thing I've had it through most of the last decade of racing, if not more now. But yeah, of course we have to do it. That's what we're all here for. And yeah, especially after all the training that's gone in this year, obviously all the preparation from the PTO and challenge. And you know, so many of the athletes, after having so kind of few chances to race in 2020, you know, one of the really exciting things about this, if it's not exciting enough anyway, is the fact that we're here. We've got a major event on, a major triathlon on in 2020, and that's why it's the kind of most significant triathlon race of the year.
You talk about handling that pressure. You know, in the 2012 London was, you know, it was just totally nuts. I can't imagine what that was like going through. How do you deal with all of that?
Well, 2012 is a long time ago, so as much as I do like to talk about it, I try not to talk about it too much. But yeah, I think both Johnny and I have said since then that in terms of dealing with pressure and expectation, it's been all downhill from there. Being in a situation where there's massive pictures of you everywhere in a hometown Olympics with hundreds of thousands of people watching you was tough, but thankfully we were both in great shape on that day. And the most significant pressure, it's one of the oldest cliches in sport, obviously, is that you put on yourself. And so yeah, there's still a chance to put a lot of pressure on yourself to perform on the day.
You talk a lot about that, that confidence that comes from the training. How is that? We see it in the racing. We see you with the great results and all that stuff. How does that balance work? In terms of getting that confidence from the training, and what do you need to do to be able to bring that into the races?
Well, for me, I've done triathlon for a long time, done a lot of training over a lot of years, and I kind of know what kind of training I need to do over weeks and months to get in good shape. And I also have a really good idea from sessions and various training routes that I've done for most of those times, what they should feel like, how fast they should be, and most importantly, how far I'm beating Johnny by. That's the ultimate confidence.
So how much have you been beaten Johnny by over the last little bit? Are you going to tell us?
Yeah, quite a way, yeah.
Earlier this year, we were all trying to figure out, you ended up doing the Sprint Worlds in Hamburg, and then I think the race start for Helvellyn was like 14 hours later. You got in at midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning and then raced it. Why was it so important for you to do that Helvellyn race?
Well, it was kind of a matter of timing, really. I obviously heard that the PTO had this brilliant idea to start supporting local races for athletes to give them a chance to race. And I think at this point, the race in Helvellyn was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I know the organiser pretty well. And I was like, "Is this definitely going to go ahead?" He's like, "Yeah, definitely going to go ahead. We've got all the permits we need and everything, and it's a pretty rural place, and so we shouldn't have any restrictions." So then I was like, right, okay, this gives a chance for all the British pros to get on a start line and have a race. What a fantastic thing. So that got organised, and what a great thing the PTO are doing, and we're going to have a race to do. And then a few days later, the ITU announced out of nowhere that Hamburg is kind of going ahead, and now it's going to be a World Championships. And I was on the start list. I was like, oh shit, there's like 2 races here. And yeah, obviously lots of jokes, like races are like buses, you wait all year for one and then 2 come at once. And so I thought, right, can I do both? And I kind of looked into the logistics. Obviously, if it had been an Olympic distance race on the Saturday, it would have probably been almost impossible because it'd be a bit tiring. But yeah, thankfully the men's race was early enough in the day to get a flight back that night and literally travel through the night to northern England, pretty close to where I live, and do this race in the Lake District.
Finally, obviously a huge deal here, largest prize purse we've ever seen. You already have a whole pile of triathlon accolades to your name. What would it mean to get this title for you on Sunday?
Well, yeah, I'm very lucky to have been racing in triathlon a long time, and already achieved way more than I ever dreamt of achieving in the sport. But being kind of ambitious, you keep setting yourself new goals, and this has definitely been one of them this year. I think firstly to actually win a competitive long distance race that haven't actually done yet. I keep coming second, so that would be really big and important for me. And then secondly, because I think the year that we've had, not having significant competition on this year in triathlon, and so many great athletes from all kind of codes of the sport, as it were, kind of doing this one race this weekend. I think that makes it really important. And I said it before, that I think as well that this kind of middle distance type racing is becoming probably the most competitive kind of form of triathlon there is, because it gives us this fantastic kind of chance to see the best short distance guys in the world like Vincent race the best long distance guys in the world like Sebi, and people in the middle who do a bit of both like me, and everyone coming together to have great competitive racing, which is, as athletes, what we all want to do, race the best guys, and as spectators and fans, what we all want to see, all the best guys racing on one day.
So I did want to ask one more thing. Sebi puts you in the long distance category now. I guess once you've suffered through Kona, that you get to do all of that. Johnny is definitely in the short distance. Which has the advantage, long distance or ITU?
I don't think it's that binary that long or short have the advantage. It depends on the athlete. You can have a really good short distance athlete who might struggle, but a really good short distance athlete who might do really well, and similarly for the long distance. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's kind of a bit unknown for everyone actually, in terms from whether you're short or long distance, because of the dynamics of the course, it being super flat, super fast. The 20-meter draft rule I think is going to be really important as well, and have quite a big impact. And no one quite knows how it's going to play out until we're all going around that track on Sunday.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Alistair. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, we're now going to move on to our next part of the press conference, sort of split things up. We had all the guys come up first, but before we bring up the first of the women on our press conference list here today, I would like to introduce you all to the CEO of the Professional Triathletes Organization, Sam Renew.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sam, I wanted to start by just saying, okay, have you been able to take a deep breath? It's been a long haul getting to this championship.
2020 has been a long year, yeah, for all of us. It's been a strange year to launch the PTO, but now we're here and it's exciting. Look, it's truly a historic moment in sports. If you look back at how sports have organized, 1968, professional golfers broke away and formed the PGA Tour. 1988, the ATP was formed. 2020, the PTO rises with the professional athletes uniting together. And what better place to do that than here, Daytona, the world center of racing?
How big a deal or how important do you feel it is as a sort of starting point for where the PTO, it's been, COVID sort of threw a wrench in a lot of things, but this has got to feel really good to have this as your starting point for where the PTO is going.
Well, especially within 2020, if there was anywhere in the world that we could put on a race, this was the place to do it, right? We came here to meet with the fantastic teams at Challenge Daytona and Challenge North America last year, saw the race and thought, wow, this is incredible infrastructure, incredible team. And then most relevantly, as everyone will see on Sunday, access to the most phenomenal television talent. And the PTO, as everyone knows, is all about broadcast. As Bill Christie said very eloquently earlier, this is really about telling the stories of people that we know are some of the greatest athletes on the planet, and we want to be able to tell the planet about these amazing athletes. And what better place to do that than here? We've got incredible talent both in front of the camera, behind the camera. I can see the famous NBC anchor Rick Allen in the room here. We're super excited that triathlon is bringing the kind of NASCAR talent to tell the stories of our sport.
Finally, I just wanted to quickly ask, the PTO stepped up big time in my mind back in March, April, when you guys gave bonuses out and got money to the pros in a time of real need. How important was a move like that for you guys?
I think it was less around the PTO stepping up as much as the athletes uniting together and showing what can happen united as a group. We're all stronger together. It's as simple as that. This was an incredibly challenging year for so many sports, and we are very fortunate that we were in the position that we just started with Crankstart Investments, our long-term financial partner, that we were in the position to provide a bit of extra support for the sport of triathlon. Now we get to play that all back by putting on what will hopefully be an incredible performance. I mean, everyone talks about one of the most important ingredients of sport and entertainment is an uncertain outcome, and I think that's the definition of what we've got here on Sunday. Even hearing these gentlemen just up here now being saying, I think Sebi said out of 30 people we could see the winner, and so what better way to sort of crown what was ultimately a really difficult year for everyone than the PTO 2020 Championships here at Challenge Daytona.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam, and congratulations to you and the entire PTO team for getting this all together. A lot of us have been shaking our heads, just not sure how this was going to happen, but we're here and it's happening. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, and we're hugely thankful to Challenge Daytona and indeed the whole NASCAR family for hosting us at this incredible venue and allowing what will be an incredible event on Sunday. Tune in. I think everyone knows we put out enough information now about how to watch this race. We've got the live stream both on the PTO site, also very excited to have NBC Peacock following the full live coverage on Sunday, and then as Bill said, we've got NBC Sports Network and the NBC main channel in North America, as well as 126 other regions that will be covering this race. So 500 million households will be watching this racing on Sunday.
No pressure on all of us doing the coverage. Thanks for that, Sam.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Sam. Okay, we'll bring up the woman now here in our press conference, and we'll start with a woman from Sweden. She's a three-time Olympian, the 2012 Olympic silver medalist, Lisa Norden. Hey Lisa, great to see you as always. Do you ever get sick of talking about that 2012 race?
Well, no, not really. It's a good memory to have, and it's really nice to talk about it.
I guess that race has kind of defined your triathlon career in many ways. Do you feel like it should?
Well, it did, especially in Sweden. It put triathlon on the map. I think in the sport globally, there's a lot of other results that add together and create you as an athlete. But for everyone, not just the triathlon fans, but for families and people and sport-loving people out there, when you go to the Olympics, you have a whole different venue and a different talking point to normal races. So to come back to Sweden and to see what that medal meant for Sweden was massive, and it created a whole new base to operate from and to meet people from. So that was absolutely fantastic.
Okay, I promise not to talk about 2012 anymore. But actually, I want to talk about here last year. You were third here last year, and I kind of felt like that was a step forward for you. You've been dealing with injuries for a little bit. How much confidence did you get from that race here last year?
Well, to be honest, this race last year was just about survival, because I raced in Bahrain the weekend before. I got sick on the plane back to Europe. I was sick back in Sweden and ended up with a pretty bad flu. So if that would have been this year, I would have been absolutely banned from being anywhere near the course, because I ran a fever. I was just sleeping in my room. I looked back at the training schedule that I did last year, and I didn't train anything from the day I arrived until the Pro-Am relay in the morning of the race. So that was the first time I actually showed myself outdoors. So to survive and to do that well was a bit of a surprise, and I was just happy that I finished at the day. So hopefully this year be a very different story.
Yes, as you say, whether you like it or not, you got to come in a lot more healthy than that for doing that. You've actually, over the last couple of years, really focused a lot on cycling. You've been represented Sweden at the last 2 World Championships as a cyclist. Have you thought about, like, okay, yeah, this triathlon thing, it's time to move on, and it'd be nice to focus on just one sport for a while?
Well, cycling for me was such a nice relief with the injuries related to running, because I could always cycle and I could race and I could still have a normal race season and big races to look forward to. And when I got opportunity to race World Champ cycling, it was a massive, not just opportunity, but a great challenge for me as an athlete. Triathlon I've been doing for many, many years, and I know it quite well. In cycling, to go to the Worlds, I end up being a junior and someone that has to learn. And I have to ask my teammates that are much less experienced in terms of sport, but in cycling they are way more experienced than me. And to show up with the best cyclist in the world and trying to make yourself justice and trying to show that triathletes can actually ride bikes really well. It was a lot of fun and also a lot of challenge, but I think it developed me as an athlete quite a lot too. So it was great.
Do you feel like those cycling skills will help on Sunday? This course is sort of weird, like it's not technical, but it's really technical in terms of needing to stay aero and stuff. Yeah,
well, in general, like big challenges where you really have to up your game is great for learning. To do a World Championships time trial when it's down to every single detail, of course it's a massive advantage to have like gone through the preparations. This is a time trial course, and we actually discussed that cycling time trial courses are very different from this one, because they're normally quite more challenging with turns, and they're quite technical and have some ups and downs. So this is a course that I've never ridden in a bike race, because they would be way different. For me, I like this. I like to ride my trainer, and I like to put my head down and not to focus about anything else. And I spend a lot of time in my time trial position. But it's the same for every triathlete, because that's how we normally train. But it's good experience, yes.
I sort of promised I wasn't going to ask, and I'm not kind of asking, okay, but I want you to picture you and Nicola coming into the finish line, finish shoot together again. Who's going to win this sprint?
Well, my mom always said it was down to my boobs. Bigger boobs than the way I wanted. And I still haven't changed that, so.
Okay. I think, okay, so we know who you're calling on that one. Hey, thank you so much, Lisa, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so we'll bring up the other half of that amazing sprint in 2012. The 2012 Olympic gold medalist. She was the silver medalist at the Olympics in 2016 in Rio. She's from Switzerland, Nicola Spirig. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning, Nicola. I talked to Lisa about that race defining her triathlon career. Do you feel like it defined your career in some ways, or has so far?
Yeah, definitely. In Switzerland, I think it was the 4th gold medal of a woman in Summer Olympic Games ever. Like the first was 1900 from a sailor, so it was huge in Switzerland, and it definitely defined my career. And yeah, I think it was amazing.
So over the last few years, I feel like I've been writing lots of stories about all the super moms we suddenly have in our sport. And whenever you interview one of them, they all say, well, look at Nicola. And Nicola inspired me. You have 3 children. You managed to keep racing at an elite level while you were still working on a law degree. It's sort of mind-boggling, all the stuff that you're able to do. How do you balance all of that?
Yeah, well, I first had the law degree and then the kids, so that wasn't the same time. I guess I have amazing support. I would not able at all to do that without my husband. He's a former triathlete, has been to 3 Olympics as well, but is now looking after the kids and doing a lot of other stuff for me. So he's the main reason, I think, why I can do that, plus a whole team around me. So, and the second reason, I think, is that I love all what I do. So family is my love, that's for sure, but sports is still my passion. And to be able to combine these 2 things is it's amazing. It's a dream come true.
Earlier this year, the PTO announced that they're going to be actually providing maternity benefits for athletes. How big a deal is that, do you think, for our sport?
I think it's a huge sign. I think FIFA just announced that they want to support women as well in when they're pregnant. So I think slowly people realize that women can do both and should not be forced to choose between sports and family, and that's a really big sign, and I'm happy it happens now.
So we always talk about your Olympic performances, but leading up to the Olympics, I believe in 2016, you did 2 70.3 races as preparation. Do you feel like those longer distances actually help you when it comes to racing the shorter stuff as well?
Yeah, well, actually I did a 70.3 13 days before the Olympics in London as well, so everyone thought I'm crazy, but it worked out, so it must have been right. I did quite a lot of 70.3s in my career, maybe 13 or something like that. I was on the podium on all of them, won most of them, so I kind of like the distance. I'm never fully prepared for them because yes, it is mostly preparation for the Olympic distance races I do. They give me a lot of endurance, they give me some fun, some change, so it seems to be good for me. And that race is a bit similar. I'm preparing for my 5th Olympics in Tokyo, hopefully next year. I didn't want to have a break training wise, and so it was a great opportunity for me to have a goal with Daytona and to train properly the last few weeks.
I believe in most of those races you were on a regular road bike for those 70 points, and I had heard that you were planning on riding a road bike here, but now I'm hearing that you got a TT bike, so what's the scoop for Sunday?
Yeah, I actually rode all of my 70.3 races on a road bike.
I did one Ironman, that was 2:14, and I had a time trial bike then. Haven't been on a time trial bike since then. I also did time trial bike Swiss Championships on the road bike once a few years ago. So, but those were all hilly courses, and that one is obviously really flat, so I thought it might be better to have a time trial bike for that one.
All right, well, good luck on the TT bike and good luck at the race on Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, we have the 2016 Ironman 70.3 World Champion. She was runner-up at last year's 70.3 Worlds in Nice, Holly Lawrence from Great Britain. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning, Holly. Your stats over the half distance are, well, as I was looking through them all yesterday, I described them as frightening, especially if you're trying to compete against you. I think there's 15 70.3 wins, and you won in Cozumel just a little while ago. What is it that works for you in this distance, and the 70.3 distance, and maybe tomorrow, or Sunday's distance?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up doing a bit of the ITU, but it didn't really suit me. It came down to like a running race, so just being kind of more average across all three, it really suits me for 70.3 distance, and not really having a weakness, but just being strong across the board.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my head around being average at all three. I don't think I would use that word for you, but okay, if you want to go with it, that's fine. Do you feel like the slightly shorter race on the bike and the run, it's maybe I think 100 meters longer for the swim, does that suit you and work to your benefit on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll be treating it pretty much the same, but I mean, I'm always in the last 10 miles of the bike leg. Can't wait for the end of it, so it'll come up that much shorter, so yeah, I'll be glad for that.
What is your feeling about riding around the track here? Dead flat. I guess if you want to go up on the banks every now and again for a change, you can. But is that something that you look forward to, or does it feel like it might suit you?
Yeah, I mean, generally I'd prefer a hillier course. Because it's just, you're in one position, locked in the whole time, and generally that's not what I would prefer, but it's a new challenge, and I'm excited to see what I can do come race day.
Do you prefer races like this? Like, I've seen you at lots of races where you are out of the water, way out, and I enjoy being by yourself for the day is maybe not the right way of looking at it, but that's what ends up happening. That's probably not going to be the case here. You got nutty, competitive, and lots of folks who are likely to join you. Which is sort of more what you prefer?
I mean, no place you're at is comfortable. If you're, out in front, you're scared of the people behind. If you're behind, you're, before and after you. So, but yeah, I generally prefer to have a little less company around me, and I know that's not going to happen. I'm going to have a lot of company out there. So, yeah, it's going to be super interesting.
What would it mean for you to take this title on Sunday?
It would mean a lot. I mean, it's just such a unknown. Like, I have most races I go into, you know where everyone's at. It's the people that you're used to racing. You've raced a bunch already in the year before, like a world championship race. So you're kind of like, you have some idea, but we're going in having no idea. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like the biggest race of the year. So it would be huge, but I'm just focusing on what I can do and my race and having a good race for myself, and the position will take care of itself.
Finally, obviously the PTO has done, I feel like things really stepped up this year. What do you feel about, the PTO and the championship, and how's it been for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year, and thank God for the PTA, really, because we'd all be struggling without it, and it's, all our world championships have been taken away, so it's even more important that this race is happening in a year of nothing, that we're all coming together to put on a massive championship race, and it's something to build on to the future. But yeah, it's exciting, and it's good that we've just all come together for it.
Wonderful. Hey, thank you so much, Holly, and good luck.
Thanks.
On Sunday. All right, next up we have the 2019 Ironman World Champion. She is from Germany and 3-time Olympian? 2-time. Oh, sorry. Well, maybe you could go for Tokyo. Annie Haug from Germany. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Annie. How does that feel when you hear that Ironman World Champion intro?
Yeah, it still feels a bit unreal for me, because I haven't changed after that, so my life goes on like normal, and it's just getting part of my history and of my career, and it's a really nice part, but it doesn't change me at all. I hope. I'm from Canada, and know Peter Reid very well. He won the Ironman World Championship 3 times, and he used to always say that the hardest thing to do in our sport is defend a Kona title, just because of all of the craziness that happens to you. Did you experience some of that after your win in Kona? I think, like Alistair said, the pressure is always the pressure you put on yourself. So obviously, of course, if you're a defending champion, the pressure will always be on. But you can't just do your very best at the race, and every race starts from zero. So if you want to defend your title, you have to be the best at the day. I will do like what I always do. I will prepare as best as I can and see what I can do on the day, and the best one will win. That's the beauty in sports, and nothing is predictable, and every race starts from zero.
So you started doing long distance races after 2016, after the Olympics in 2016. What was it? Was it just time to move on? What made you make that decision to start moving up?
Yeah, it's an open secret that my heart always is with a short course, because I like the fight and the speed and whatever. But I just realized that the swimming is so quick that I can't keep up with the girls anymore, and that I can't live up to my expectations, because I have such a lot of success in ITU, and I finally realized that I won't be on the podium anymore because just of the swim. It's getting too quick for me, and I needed some new challenge, and I think step up to the longer courses will give me more motivation and new challenge, and I'm very happy that I did the steps. So racing Ironman is something completely different, and it's pretty much more like a head challenge and a physical challenge for me. So it's really nice to have both worlds, and I do enjoy the long course as well now.
I know running is something that you love, and is always something really important to you as a former runner. Back when I used to run, we talked about the World Cross Country Championships being the most competitive running race in the world, because you had track athletes going up against marathon runners, and I kind of feel like we're in the same boat here. We've got ITU folks taking on Ironman World Champions. Do you feel the same way, that this race is that meeting of the best?
Definitely, I think it's a combination of the Olympic Games and Hawaii Ironman Triathlon. So the very, very best athletes in the world meet together here at the PTO World Champs. So I think who will take the win out of here will definitely be the best in the world. So that's, I think, why the race is so important for every one of us.
Finally, do you come into an event like this, like last year you had a great bike ride, but you still had a little bit of time to catch up on Lucy Charles out on the run course. Do you feel like there's a certain time gap that you need to be within as you start the run, or do you even think like that as you're preparing for a race?
I try to focus on myself, but definitely this race with the slightly longer swim and the shorter bike and run doesn't really fall to my strength, to be honest. And I think
It will be an advantage for all the ITU or the good swimmers, because I think the swim will be a major point. You have to be in the first pack, otherwise it's really hard to catch up or make any time on a pancake flag course. And yeah, but I mean, it's the same for everyone, and I have to focus on myself and try the best I can. And yeah, but I think the swim will play a major part in this race.
All right. Hey, thank you so much, Annie, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right. We have one to go here. She's number 3 in the PTO standings, our top-ranked woman in the standings competing here on Sunday. I got to watch her win the ITU Long Distance World Championships in 2017. She's been 3rd twice at the Ironman World Championships, and this is Australia's Sarah Crowley.
Hi.
How's it going, Sarah?
I'm going good.
Do you get nervous for this stuff?
Well, this year's been very different. So obviously with COVID and having a number of races, well, most of the races wiped off the schedule, a lot of people are going into this race probably a little more nervous than normal because we haven't had the chance to race each other and prepare as we normally would for a race of this caliber. So yeah, look, I'm nervous, but nerves are good. It means I care. So I guess we'll see what happens on Sunday with everyone.
I feel like I've been sort of watching Sarah's Great American Tour over the last bit as you, because I think you were back in Australia, and then it seemed to me like at one point you were dealing with snow here or something. So what's that all about?
It's just a bit more of 2020 for me. Yeah, look, we've got really tight restrictions in Australia. We actually don't have a lot of COVID cases, and we've been really, really tight with how we've treated it. So I was fortunate enough actually for our country to open up with some racing, and I had the opportunity to race Mooloolaba Half Ironman and Cairns Ironman. And then following that, I thought it might be, we could sort of build off that fitness a little bit and come and do some altitude. But obviously it's 3 months later than I normally would, and so I ended up in a little bit of snow. But notwithstanding that, it's been a pretty good, enjoyable experience given that any other year I'd never get that opportunity. So yeah, a little colder than normal, but it's 2020 and we're racing, so
yeah, just exciting to be out there. On Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I didn't think you were ever going to stop riding around that track. Like, how much training are you doing this week?
Yeah, look, we always have a long ride towards the end of the preparation, so that was my long ride. And I actually grew up in Adelaide, South Australia. We used to have this thing called the Edwardstown Velodrome, and I used to train so much around this tiny little outdoor velodrome, and I was like, this is just a massive version of that. So it brought back some good memories, so I was quite enjoying my time out on the track.
Yeah, I think 4K versus 200 meters or 250 meters, just a tiny bit of a difference there. If you're trying to duplicate the number of laps, no wonder you're out there for a while.
Yeah, well, I actually had to then go inside and finish the ride, so it was a long day for me.
Yes, I did see you there as well. So I talked about Penticton. I got to see you that was an amazing day for you, I think, anyway. And the thing that I find interesting about that race is closer to this distance than a full distance type deal, or even a half in many ways. Do you feel like that gives you some confidence, a bit of an edge coming into an event like this?
I think it's fascinating looking at the field for this race. So we've all, everyone we've spoken to this morning has all come from the short course background, and all sort of kind of meeting in the middle. And for me, I've always really enjoyed non-drafting Olympic distance. Similar to some of the other girls, the swim was never quite at the level within the ITU. Lately though, this year I've focused really heavily on my swim and trying to improve it, because we know these girls are coming through into the longer distance. So I guess with the run, I seem to fit well into that kind of like a little bit further than a half, but not quite a full. But we've been training specifically for this event, so it has been a little bit of a shock to me to do some of that kind of sharp stuff that we normally do for short course, instead of kind of long training. Yeah, look, I don't know. No one knows. It's going to be very, very fast, and I have the feeling it's going to be feeling quite similar to an ITU style race or a major non-drafting Olympic distance type event. So it will be very interesting to see what happens.
I think you partly answered what this next one for me, but what will be the key for you getting the win on Sunday? And you're not allowed to say just getting to the line first.
Well, yeah, like I said before, I think there's definitely some people that are going to disturb the dynamic of what we're normally used to in this distance, because there's people coming from the shorter distance where extra few hundred meters in the swim is not going to affect their swim speed too much, but it will play a major part in the dynamics of the race. But then with the drafting distance as well, those athletes might struggle if they haven't spent the time that we have on our aerodynamics and our body position and everything, and the endurance on the bike. So, you know, that could come back towards the end. And then I guess having it a pancake flat course as well, it's like you're going to be locked into a specific position for such a long time that we're normally used to having rolling hills and things and corners. So that will also impact the run off the bike. So look, it's going to be really interesting to see who tolerates that kind of situation the best. And you know, like, I think there are some half distance specialists in this race, and it'll be interesting to see how the likes of, say, Laura Phillip and you know, I think Nicola and obviously Holly go. Yeah, it's going to be really competitive. I think everyone will come together really well in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. No two ways around that. And you know, Laura, you talked about, I think she was one spot behind you last year in Kona.
She was coming hard at the end of the race. That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think she'd argue that she's figuring out the Ironman stuff as well. So as the bottom line, it's going to be just nuts out there. Do you look forward to that in a warped sort of way, or is it?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think one thing that I'm known for in my career is that I don't give up. There's been a number of races where I think Annie said we raced each other in Frankfurt and in 2018. Anyway, she was sort of like, well, you just won't die. And I think you need that attitude in this kind of course, just the resilience, because it is that kind of locked in, you know, vacuum type race where it's just, you just got to hurt the longest. But yeah, look, there's some very amazing athletes and super respectful of the field. It's going to be really tight, I think, between, say, the top 15 in this race. I think in the women's field it could be a few minutes.
I think you are right, and looking forward to it, and good luck hurting. Hopefully you can hurt the most the longest, or least. Thank you so much. That's Sarah Crowley. All right, so with that, we are all done our press conference here today. Thank you to all of the athletes and to all of the folks helping organize in these challenging COVID times, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. Thanks for joining us.